Hello everyone. I am Isobe, serving as CFO. And thank you very much for participating in Fujitsu IR Day. Today I'd like to talk about the business strategy towards achieving Fujitsu's midterm management plan as well as the progress update. The drivers for the growth and business strategy, and for the pathway and probability to achieve the financial targets, I'd like you to deepen your understanding through today's presentation. At the outset, I'd like to give you the overview of the midterm management plan and the general opening remarks. Let us start with Fujitsu Group's purpose. Make the world more sustainable by building trust in society through innovation. All our activities are to achieve this purpose. The pathway to achieve the purpose is Fujitsu Way. The values that we focus are the aspiration, trust, and empathy. From here on, for the next few slides, I'd like to give you the overview of the current midterm management plan. This has already been announced publicly, so I'd like to be brief here. In formulating the midterm management plan, first we draw a picture of what we want to be in 2030. To achieve net positive through digital service to become a technology company like that. In other words, all of our activities will bring about the positive impact to the society as a whole. That's what we aim to be. Now, what we want to be, where we aim to be, are set as a goal. And backcasting from that, we formulated the management plan covering from fiscal 23 to 25. The current midterm plan is positioned as 3 years to build a business model towards a sustainable growth for 2030 and beyond. Now, towards achieving what we want to be, we formulated 4 key strategies to roll out various measures and activities. You see the financial plan for the midterm plan period. The final year for the plan, fiscal 25, we aim to achieve revenue of 4.2 trillion yen. Adjusted operating income will be 500 billion yen, which will be 1.5 times bigger compared to the actual fiscal 22, and the core free cash flow 300 billion, which will be double. This is the breakdown and the progress of the financial plan on the left-hand side of the consolidated. For fiscal 25, as I mentioned earlier, against the 22, revenue is up by 490 billion. The profit is up by 180 billion. To drive this growth are on the right-hand side, the service solutions. Service solutions for fiscal 25, revenue 2.4 trillion yen, adjusted operating income 360 billion, profit margin 15% are the planned figures. Compared against the actuals for 22, the sales will be up by 420 billion, the profit will be up by 200 billion, almost 2.2 times bigger. As you can see, the right and the left, the growth of service solution and achieving this plan will lead to achieving the plan on the consolidated base. We would like to mainly talk about the pathway for the service solution growth. Now, this is the management structure to achieve the plan, to make sure to execute the key strategies in the speedy way for the midterm. Under the CEO Tokita, we now set up 5 corporate vice presidents with clear authority and responsibilities, and these 5 corporate vice presidents will be the speakers for today. These are the drivers to achieve the midterm plan, the agenda for what we will be covering today. There are 4 keywords: modernization, Fujitsu Uvance, consulting, and to support all those, technology strategy. The core for the midterm management plan, the service solutions, as a pathway for the strong growth, the competitiveness and the growth potential of Fujitsu, and the probability of achieving the plan will be explained by the executive corporate president, vice president, who is responsible respectively. To conclude my opening remarks, I'd like to touch upon the plan for the revenue for service solution and the image of the portfolio. The service solution revenue for fiscal 25 is targeted at 2.4 trillion. Out of that, what is in orange, Fujitsu Uvance, will account for about 30%, 700 billion, modernization about 10%, 225 billion, and the conventional IT service will account for about 60%. So by promoting the transformation of the business portfolio, we would like to lead to the entire business growth. Now, the consulting business is 180 billion, but those are the upstream to promote the negotiations for different disciplines. So the numbers included in the entire service solution. On the right-hand side is the image for the portfolio. The conventional IT will still account for the biggest volume in 25. Fujitsu Uvance will account for about 30%, as you can see on the right hand, and there's a modernization which overlap at different areas. The number for modernization, 225 billion, indicated in yellow, are outside of conventional IT and Uvance. Now, for the consulting business, as it is included in the various areas, so the number is included in the numbers for different areas. Now, so much on the opening. Now, I'd like to pass over to the other speakers to talk about the driver for planning, achieving the plan, for starting with the promoting modernization. Shimazu-san, over to you.
Mr. Isobe, thank you very much. Now, let me introduce Megumi Shimazu on the topic of promoting modernization. Shimazu-san, over to you. Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Shimazu, COO of Fujitsu. In promotion of the modernization, I would like to give you further explanation, but now I'd like to take this opportunity to express our appreciation to shareholders and the investors for your continuous support to Fujitsu. Just briefly, I would like to introduce myself. I joined Fujitsu in 1987 as a system engineer, and since then, we have been closely working together with customers in their system configuration and establishment for many years. And currently, I'm in charge of service delivery. First of all, I would like to talk about the market trends and the environment surrounding the company. Definition of modernization. Well, it means to modernize and make things new in the Japanese, but when it comes to definition of modernization, there is no one established definition of the word in the market. And the research companies, they do not disclose the data regarding the modernization market. But our definition is this is the business to break away from the conventional assets. To give you further explanation, in the infrastructure area, mainframe, Unix servers, office computers here, and the middleware area, including the products that have EOS or end of service, and in the field of applications, COBOL, PL1. So these are the conventional assets, and the modernization in our definition is to move away from these conventional assets. In this business of modernization at Fujitsu, we are making the plan to further grow the modernization, and we set the very high profitability prospect as well as a gross margin. This is not a one-time business. This is the type of business that will create and accelerate DX for the future. So why modernization now? From a customer's point of view and also from our point of view, I would like to explain why modernization is needed. In Japan, in 2018, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry promoted the idea of the 2025 digital cliff, and that started the engagement of Japanese companies in digital transformation. Well, in the US, nearly 80% of the companies have been engaged in DX. However, currently in Japan, the ratio is about 60%. So as for the size of the DX market in Japan, it's going to be 8 trillion yen level, which is twice as large as today's size by 2030. And this is our own Fujitsu's unique calculation. But according to our calculation, in fiscal 2023, modernization market size was 800 billion yen. By 2025, it's going to be 900 billion yen. And the further growth and the development is expected even beyond that time frame. Now I'd like to explain about modernization from our point of view. So for the transformation of the business portfolio, we established Uvance as a business model. And in order to help customers promote their DX efforts, we announced to wind down the conventional products such as Unix server and mainframe. Currently, 640 companies are operating using Unix and 320 customer companies working with the mainframe. And to us, they present the business opportunities to promote modernization to us. So just briefly, I would like to introduce some of the cases involving modernization efforts. One example involves the manufacturing company A. And the business between Fujitsu and the manufacturing company A used to be about 20 million yen, mainly focusing upon mainframe maintenance. But through modernization project, we developed it up to 2 billion revenue business per year for 3 years in the modernization project. And the financial services B company used to give us 80 billion, or rather 80 million yen as the conventional assets. However, we realized the annual sales of 6 billion yen for a 4-year period. And we are going to totally renew our own internal core system in October this year. And we would like to deploy the accumulated best practice and expertise that we have acquired at Fujitsu for these business negotiations and for the benefit of customers. Next, I would like to talk about the competitive advantage, services, knowledge, and engineers. In these areas, we have competitive advantages. From this page onward, I would like to give you further details about these strengths of Fujitsu. First of all, the strengths in terms of the services. So in the modernization business, we are not only providing the tool to promote transition. Mr. Onishi, after my presentation, will give you further details about the consulting business and also Uvance business to be presented by Mr. Takahashi. We are going to work together with their activities so that we can offer end-to-end services to the customers, which will give the synergistic effect and the values for the customers. As for the service lineup in the field of modernization, for the asset analytical services, which has been received favorably by the customers for many years, and also the tools to be based upon the alliance with AWS, which is the only case in Japan, and also tool that we are using in overseas international markets, and also Gen AI related services can also be offered, which will be explained by Vivek Mahajan later on. So the end-to-end services is what we can offer to the customers, which will start from consulting all the way to Uvance, and that will give the sense of the comfort as well as the cost of the reduction as the benefit of the customers. Next is the strength of our knowledge. We have best practice and the lesson learned based upon our SI and modernization experience for many years. We also have our own experience in using these technologies internally, and we also have the product knowledge that we have accumulated as the domestic hardware vendor, and we consolidate these knowledges and expertise into the center of excellence, and we are always updating it. It could include the modernization promotion method or some of the successful experiences of the projects, some templates, And these are what our salespeople and engineers are using for their delivery, as well as business discussions with customers. And these enable high quality, high reliability projects. Next is about the strengths of engineers. In modernization, we need expertise and expert knowledge regarding the conventional assets. Engineers are getting older in their age, and it is important for us to acquire the new talents. So there are people who have the skills in the conventional assets, who have the actual working experience, who will be able to lead the business discussion and the deliveries, are nominated as the dedicated modernization meisters. And we hope to have a pool of modernization meisters of 500 people by 2026. And this will provide the business opportunities, employment opportunities to the people after their retirement. And we have a special scheme to keep them. And they have the knowledge in this particular area. And also we have accounts who require such knowledge, so that we are going to combine them to provide the adequate human resources for their benefit. Next, I will talk about the midterm targets and business plans. Modernization business may overlap some of the Uvance activities as well as the hardware solution businesses. Combining them, the revenue is expected to grow at the rate of 145% in the fiscal 23 as compared to 2022, when we announced the winding down of mainframe and Unix, as well as the full-fledged launch of modernization. And as for fiscal 2026, because of the large-sized project, we expect the revenue to grow at 167%. As for fiscal 2025, 300 billion is the revenue target, and 90% of that has already been supported by the existing pipelines as well as a backlog of the business. And looking at the current the needs of the customers, we expect further upside on top of these numbers. Well, the 105 to 107% is the general growth rate of the domestic Japanese IT service market. However, we expect 120% growth towards the end of the 2020s through our modernization business. Now, this is about the investment and profit target. As I mentioned earlier, as a strength of a service, we have the tool which is enhanced and which facilitates conversion to different programming languages. And we are going to offer AI application, which is involving, and also to enhance the international offshore delivery structure, as well as the modernization meister that I mentioned earlier, who will number up to 500. And as for the gross margin target, through automation, Gen AI application, and offshore implementation, we are going to improve the cost, and we would like to achieve gross margin of 40% by 2025. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the future prospect. The demand for modernization is still very strong. And in our next midterm plan, in and after 2026, we still see many projects which is as large as tens of billions of yen in size. By 2035, when the maintenance support will be finished, we would like to continue and complete the modernization of conventional assets. And then going forward, we would like to contribute further to the Uvance. So this explains the modernization business. Since time was limited, my explanation may not be sufficient, but I hope this will provide the further contribution to your knowledge and understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shimazu. Moving on to the next presentation on the business growth of Fujitsu Uvance. The speaker is Corporate Vice President Mr. Takahashi. Over to you, Mr. Takahashi. Hello, everyone. As was introduced, my name is Takahashi. Now, I would like to talk about the Uvance growth, if I may. Thank you for this opportunity. So I am responsible for the entire business of Uvance, and my name is Takahashi. Once again, thank you for your support and understanding. Now, I'd like to first talk about the market trend as well as the environment around us. First of all, for Uvance, it's not just limited to the digital transformation, but the purpose is to actively create the SX market as well. What is important is to solve both the social and business challenges, and the key to achieve these two goals at the same time is utilizing and distributing the data among different companies and among different industry sectors. And we expect that the major market will be created in this area, especially IDC use case. Looking at the market survey for the SX and DX, the market size will grow. For instance, the data collection utilization among different suppliers by optimizing the humongous supply chain in real time, that kind of market will expand. So by optimizing the supply chain, this will not just enhance the profitability, but also it will reduce the food loss as well as minimizing the impact of the divided supply chain in the case of the emergency. And we can solve those social issues at the same time. Such transformation and SX market on a global scale, we expect that it will grow to a 25 trillion yen of size in 2025, and the CAGR will exceed 25%. And we do expect that the growth rate will be very high, especially for this kind of market. There are processes specific to the industry and the businesses, so the hyperscaler or the foreign affiliates are not necessarily entering into this market. As such, we as Fujitsu, we are to create this market as a front runner, and for that, we would like to develop different solutions. By so doing, we can establish ourselves. So, as a specific target, in 2030, we would like to be among global top 3 brands, and for in Japan, we would like to gain the market share of more than 20%. SXDX can be utilized by not that many companies, so like to have an overwhelmingly big top market share. Now moving on to talk about our competitive advantages. Why we think Uvance can enjoy such high market share. First of all, the business model is the reason for that. The business model of the Uvance starts from the consulting, and we can accommodate the one against the multiple by offering us such services. At the end of the day, we can help the customers achieve their KPIs. So we can offer a continuous values to the customers. We can continue to provide values, for instance, enhancing the functions or enhance customer usage. By so doing, we can enhance the stickiness of the customers. So through this approach, in the areas where it's difficult for the customers to define the requirements, best practice can be provided with a high success rate of introduction with the quick implementation on cloud, and it can be rolled out horizontally. After the implementation, the latest technology can be added on a continuous way to the solutions, so we can continue to provide new values. Later on, Vivek will explain about our Kozuchi. Such latest technologies will be constantly added to the Uvance solutions. So by delivering a system, well, the IT service compared to the conventional IT service where we will deliver the system and post it one time as a revenue, but based on the long-lasting relationship with the customers, Uvance will provide a recurring profit on a continuing basis. And the business impact brought about by this new business model is firstly the enhancement of the profit margin, and it's one versus multiple in terms of the customers' relationship. So accelerate our overseas expansion, and we can secure the scalability not depending on the resources, and we can also expand the base revenue through the recurring models. I will come back to this in more details later on. As such, this is going to be a new business model for Fujitsu, and based on that, we are drawing a dramatic growth. Why can we do that? Let me explain the source to support the growth of Fujitsu Uvance. The first thing is the core of Uvance growth key success factor is data and AI. In this area of data and AI, the growth rate is extremely high. And with the high-level data integration capability and our own AI technology for the analytics, we have both, and we are a rare player to have them both. So by intensively investing our management resources into data and AI and enhance the strength and competitiveness, we can build overwhelmingly significant positions. So we would like to work on this. First is technology, knowledge, customer base. And with these as the three, we would like to promote the business with technology and rich knowledge and customer base. For instance, for technology, like Fujitsu Kozuchi, the high-level analytics and the demand forecast, ensemble model, not leveraging our own IT, but just the other day, we announced a strategic partnership with Cohere, dedicated to the specific sectors, leveraging the generative AI. A high confidential workload can also be generated in LA and Azure, OpenAI, and Amazon Bedrock, Gemini. Combining their IPs, we can implement the latest technologies to the customers. That's where we are highly valued by the partners. So we can leverage partners' IP, not just our own. Now for the knowledge, especially for data and AI and security, we would invest our human resources. And in the second half of 24, close to 4,000 technology consultants will be deployed in this area. And not just technology consulting, but also what is important for Uvance, for instance, the certified talents for sustainability. We have several hundred certified personnel. So by making sure to develop such highly skilled talents, we would like to grow the Uvance business. Moving on to talk about the midterm targets and the business plan. For fiscal 25, we aim to achieve the revenue of 700 billion yen. As a matter of fact, the growth this year against the 450 billion of our revenue target, we're doing quite well, and we should be able to achieve upside. Vertical and horizontal are the two components for Uvance, especially for vertical. 45% or plus growth margin. For horizontal, SAP, ServiceNow, such business applications, hybrid IT, 25% or more growth margin is to be achieved. And furthermore, towards 2030, we would like to further enhance such a gross margin. Now for vertical, for the market that will be created newly, we will be the market creator, will be the market leader, and high value added solutions will be rolled out, and on the on-cloud, low-cost development will be promoted, and with that, we can enhance the gross margin. Especially the standardized offerings can be provided to multiple customers so that we can accelerate the development speed and increase the gross margin rate. Now for horizontal, the market growth, especially as you may know, SAP ServiceNow, for these areas, the market has an active demand. So how much capacity can be secured and how can we be speedy is a very important point. So we have to make sure not to have any opportunity loss. So by having optimal resource allocation and by leveraging AI with minimum resources, we hope to be able to deploy. As you can see, the Uvance growth is dependent on the vertical growth. For the vertical revenue, the recurring model will be extremely important. Now, for the first time, we are talking about this recurring as a target for this year, 30 to 40%. So with that, a recurring model will be developed. So the existing revenue we will secure the base revenue for the next fiscal year. Next, I'd like to talk about the business scenario for the recurring business. Again, this is a very important point. So different from the conventional IT service where we only post the revenue once, we like to secure the recurring profit. By so doing, we can expect to expand the profit year after year in a stable way. As a matter of fact, against the revenue target for fiscal 25, 400 billion, out of that, 1/4 is a revenue coming from the existing contracts, so the customers about 100 billion. So as incremental for 25 out of 400, 300 billion are the incremental where we have to create. So by increasing the recurring ratio, we can secure the revenue base for the vertical, and by acquiring the customer base, we can have a clear pathway towards 700 billion. Now, specifically, how can we increase the vertical is what I'd like to talk about next. First of all, right now, the innovative offerings, together with the first users, we're working on them, the development. By developing products together with the customers, and by developing on cloud, we can promote the standardization, and such standardized products that can be rolled out horizontally for fiscal 25. This horizontal rollout will be full-fledged. And at the same time, for the existing customers, we would like to enhance the functions and features. One core function can be added, so that ARPU, average revenue per user, can be increased. By so doing, we can expand the revenue. And this will not just be acquiring the new customers, but also by expanding the features. So from the existing customers, we can expand the average revenue per user, or ARPU. The next perspective is the pipeline or the coverage. As you can see on the right-hand side, right the bottom, the pipeline coverage for 24 against the sales target. How much coverage do we have? And this is something that we're sharing for the first time with you. For fiscal 24, 177% against the target, plus 77% is what we have as a pipeline. Of course, it's up to the conversion rate. But for fiscal 25 as well, at this point in time, we have already secured 48% equivalent of coverage. So what do we mean by that? Against the 400 billion, we already have 200 billion yen worth of pipeline that exists as of now. So we still have 16 months to go, and by accumulating more pipeline, we would like to increase the conversion. Now, if I may share with you the specific case example to promote the horizontal rollout as well as increased ARPU. So last time, as I talked about at the Uvance update, this case example of a certain manufacturer with 3,000 suppliers, 18 factories, 20 existing systems, such diversified distributed systems. By integrating the data, having the analytics system to optimize the supply chain, by so doing, they were able to gain much benefit and profit equivalent to several billion. So we would like to further develop and promote this kind of use case. For instance, include the traceability of the manufacturing and optimizing the distribution at the global level, and the global sales distribution optimization of the inventory planning. By so doing, we can increase their ARPU. That's the first Uvance. And at the same time, specifically from the customer's use case, dynamic supply chain offering can be developed. It's about 30 applications, 9 applications are made as a core standard architecture, and they are now rolled out to more than 100 customers, 5 to 8 oku per deal. Of course, Uvance varies from one to the other. There are several billion to dozens of billion, but in this case, it's about 500 to 800 million yen of deal size, and we are now providing them to more than 100 companies. And at the same time, this kind of use case can be also provided to customers in different sectors, so investors. For instance, from manufacturing, it can be rolled out to the heavy industry, finance, or distribution. So even those customers in different industries, they want to build some data solutions. So there are 11 different patterns that we are working on. So such innovative offering solutions can be rolled out on cloud to acquire more businesses. Well, we acquired last year GK Software to continue to establish our overseas business. This is a very important component for that purpose. More than the double-digit growth has been maintained, and not just in Europe, but also new markets, especially Americas, new sectors. Such new customers are being acquired as we speak, especially the retention type of TOS with the personalization. Such retail customers, the necessary products can be recommended to those customers. Such custom experience market will be expanding. So such innovative solutions can be offered by GK and combined with our IP for the image analytics, self-check, false detection. By combining them, new value added can be provided. Now, from the second half, in the Japanese market, GK's IP, integrating our IP, such solution will be launched from the second half of this year. The solution will be provided. Moving on to healthcare. And I touched upon this in last year's IRD a little bit. With electronic record, we have a high share. So with this and with bio data, we can enhance the convenience for the patients. So I would like to provide a new medical innovation. On top of that, about 2 weeks ago, Paradigm, the latest test platform, was to be provided with the U.S. partner for health. Paradigm. Several 100,000 patients' data can be utilized. So such a clinical test, by feeding this to the new platform, Uvance solution can be provided as evolving. For the vital data and electronic record, we are working, and with the National Center of Cancer, we're working on the clinical tests. So we like to enhance the ecosystem. We like to enhance the solutions, and we can increase the number of users. That's what we're doing in Uvance. Last but not least, I'd like to talk about the future outlook. So with the dramatic evolution of AI, we have been reducing the environmental burden through AI learning, and we can prevent the emergencies with processing capabilities. I would like to support that with the Uvance technology and UI. Shall be used in harmony with humankind. So we'd like to specify this kind of world through our Uvance. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takahashi. Next is the presentation by Mr. Onishi on the topic of business model transformation through consulting approach. Onishi-san, over to you. Hello to all of you. My name is Onishi, Corporate Vice President, COO, CRO. Thank you very much for attending today's meeting. I'd like to express my appreciation to all of you who are attending here on site as well as the online. So the third the growth driver, which is the consulting approach, is what I'd like to focus upon. So back in 2019, I joined Fujitsu. So this year is the 5th year since I joined the company. Since last year, I became a CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. And on top of that, I'm the CEO in charge of our region business, COO in charge of the region business. So I'm in charge of the customer-facing the businesses on a global basis. And in the midterm management plan, customer success is one key area. Consulting activities is one of the important pieces of customer success. So now, talking about the environment surrounding Fujitsu, I'd like to talk about this particular point. As you know, 2024, February 2024, we introduced Uvance Wayfinders. So this is the AI implementing important piece, which we would like to promote together with the customers. So this is our passion and idea. This may be similar to what Mr. Takahashi has already mentioned, but our desire expressed in Uvance is to break down the different industry segments and identify new opportunities. And as a result, we hope to solve the societal issues. So that is the idea. And Vivek later will also explain about the recent AI development and looking at the future, 20 years, the 10 years, 20 years from now. The newly emerging computing capabilities will significantly change the way the business is done. We have the business model and then consider the technology model that is approached so far. But it's going to be a technology-based new business model, which is the requirement of the new world. Then nobody has the right answer to that question, and it is important to introduce the sense of the concept of a transformation, which means that we need consulting capabilities to do that. So the two examples I'd like to cite on this slide. So this resilience is important point which is emerging as the new challenges and how to create the technologies. Well, in the resilience on the area together with Tokyo Marine, we are going to establish the new the transformation, well, to optimize the premium calculation, and also Mizuho Financial Group is the next example. Well, the quality assurance required by the Mizuho Financial Group can also be solved by our technologies. So these are just two examples, but we'd like to expand the scope of these actual implementations. And what is our competitive advantage? Before talking about the specific technology, I would like to explain a little bit about the consulting-led approach. So what does this mean, consulting-led approach? Well, in our current midterm management plan, to create as the business opportunities for Fujitsu, we cited 3 points. One is a so-called delivery lead. There is a long-standing relationship with the customers in IT area, and this is the new business opportunities created out of that. So these are the businesses that start from the customers' initiatives. Second is the modernization-led approach. This is related to Shimazu-san's approach. The three approaches to this point was mentioned. And in our core system so far, and has a life. And before the life ends for certain technology and hardware, we need to do the transformation. So this is the second approach. And the third the consulting approach is that there are the social issues, management issues. We know what we need to solve. However, how is the question? And there are many forces within the organization when a certain approach is to be taken. And we need to write the right scenario to promote the new transformation. And that can be solved by our consulting approach. So the parties that we are facing are not just the CEOs, CXOs, but the other members of the management as well as the people in the practical businesses. And we have to understand the real nature of the issues customers are facing. And then we start to consult with the customers to solve them. So the Fujitsu as a consulting company, what is our strength? I would like to talk about 3 points here, as Takahashi-san earlier mentioned. One is that we have a strong technology heritage on a global basis, R&D on a global basis. And in the past few years, global IT companies, Microsoft, SAP, and according to the recent announcement, we also they start working with the startup Cohere and the Palantir as well. Strategic relationship with these partners have advanced significantly. Well, technology potential is getting larger, and to have this technological edge in this particular area is our strength, and that is also related to our consulting capabilities. And since 2019, we also transformed ourselves. There are many consultants in the world. Have you ever done the transformation by yourselves? Well, since Mr. Tokita became the CEO of Fujitsu, we started working on changing our HR system, and then system was renewed, operation was renewed, and business portfolio is something that we are focusing upon to change. We haven't reached to the conclusion yet, but we have overcome various challenges, difficulties, and in order for Japanese companies to understand what kind of challenges need to be overcome, we have the actual practical knowledge and expertise in doing that by ourselves. And the next point is the customer base, mainly in Japan and Europe. The scalable, large-sized, impactful major customers, we have many of them. So together with them, by creating the leading edge and the business cases together with them, we can work on that and also apply that on a global basis. So the large customer base is the source of our strength. Next is about the midterm goals and business plan. So how are we going to change our business models? I would like to talk about this point. There are two phases. First of all, strategy and vision planning stage. So in the field of IT, for example, this is where IT strategy, IT planning, and the requirement definition are needed. So that's what we used to see. However, what we are envisioning is what is the ecosystem we would like to achieve ultimately. And then based upon that, what kind of values do we need to offer? And then, based upon that, what kind of transformation scenario shall be created? And then we will understand what technologies will be needed for that. So that is the way we are going to understand the status. So through the industries and the segments, through communication, we identify the essential issues to be solved. So it could start with the technology to envision the future. That's one way to realize the changes. But for the stages of a transformation, we started with the system configuration. But once again, that is not the only thing we are going to do. To create the ecosystem, we need to make the entire framework. And then it has to be economically feasible. Well, otherwise, the members will go away from that idea. So the circular economy is a very big topic. So the mechanism like that shall be formulated. And then, of course, we face the issues after issues. And then what needs to be done, what needs to be eliminated, we need to identify what will be needed essentially. But we have to have the clear understanding about the ultimate goal. So in that sense, so this is different from the previous approach, step-by-step approach. Our outcome is the ecosystem formulation and the business system. That is our final outcomes. And then beyond that, of course, solving the societal issues or the business transformation, these are the ultimate outcomes that we need to pursue. So based upon that idea, the profit structure will naturally change and will shift. Well, in the past, strategy vision used to be a passive side. We hear the requirement from the customers, but we will be more proactive in making proposals to the customers and the business model for the implementation and the organizational changes as well. So the value that we offer will be enhanced. So in the past, in a certain phase in the business deal, gross margin was the position as a 35% conventionally, but we hope to achieve 50% gross margin in this process. As for the implementation execution of a transformation stage, as Mr. Takahashi mentioned, recurring businesses shall be enhanced. so that the profit structure will be enhanced at the same time. And also, as a change agent, we change the and determine the priorities and the create ecosystem. So that is the that will lead to enhancement of the value that we offer. So when we put them into the deals, Uvance as well as the 6 to 7% increase in the gross margin through the Uvance offering and the consulting-led approach. So in this phase, 37% gross margin is the current level, but we hope to raise this up to 50%. Now this is about the business plan. In summary, fiscal 2022 actuals for our consulting the talents was the 2,000 people and the 23 billion yen was the revenue. Gross margin 26%. These are the actuals. And Uvance modernization revenue based upon that was 4 billion yen. But the business and we are going to expand the business. We acquire more talents. But so by 2025, globally, we are going to have 10,000 talents. Well, this number may change slightly, but in the consulting, 3,000 and the 7,000 for technical consulting. Well, the revenue it will be 180 billion, 50% gross margin ratio. And the Uvance and modernization revenue based upon consulting-led approach will be 280 billion by 2025. So the gross margin enhancement through consulting, and also in my previous slide, I also mentioned about the execution phase transformation, and that will lead to higher gross margin. So we hope to increase the gross margin by more than 100 billion yen by 2025. And how about the current status of the business? As of July 2024, this is the current status. We have 2,500 consultants, consulting talents, and the revenue is 8.7 billion, gross margin 38%. And the Uvance and modernization revenue based upon this approach is 6 billion yen. So looking at this business, well, acquisition of talents is not so easy. Well, it is more difficult than we anticipated, actually. That's what we are feeling right now. But by adjusting the approaches, we hope that we can acquire more talents. And going forward, what are the threats and opportunities, and how do we look at them going forward? For the acquisition of talents, well, of course, the difficulty remains the same. However, from a global point of view, as is written here, major consulting firms, I do not name them, but the resource allocation, resource adjustment, there are some the articles written about the other consulting firms, and they become more mature. And in order for their consultants to consider their own future, there's an opportunity that they leave the leading consulting firms, and they have become more mobile. So from our point of view, in acquiring the talents, we are feeling some upside. Well, in establishing the way forward, on the we talked with the senior members of the consulting firms, myself, and they agree on there are many partner level people who agree with our ideas, and we have a good feeling from them about the working closely together. And when it comes to business, McKinsey and the Quantum Black, as you may know, they are in the digital area, and the ECG, the consulting firm, and they are trying to enhance their digital capabilities. And they are posing threats to us. But as the IT and the consulting, IT consulting the expert, we'd like to establish our foundation. And also the M&A overseas is the opportunity we would like to focus upon. So 10,000 people by 2025, 180 billion. These are the numbers I gave you. And this is the basic policy to achieve that. So not just in Japan, but globally, we would like to promote this. But by market and by regions, the maturity, the structure of the industry, it may be different. So we are going to take different approaches. In case of Japan, because we have the size of a business and the required number of consultants is high, but by using the reskilling programs, and we would like to changing and adjusting the strategic recruiting activities. So we are going to acquire talents. And M&A is also within the scope of our activities. And I was in Dallas last week. For North America, we find us the two senior leaders together with them. I talked with them together with the members from Bridge Lines, and they created their own plan for the future. And we hope to support them. And then inorganic opportunities that may appear on the horizon can also be captured. And as for Europe, after Japan, well, we have the strong business and the customer footprint in Europe. So we need to have the capability to answer the needs of the customers, and we hope to have scale. It has to be scalable. So we would also like to work on the M&A opportunities at the same time, and particularly in Japan, well, BP, SEs, and also wayfinders, together with them, well, our consulting-led approach, template, and model cases shall be created. And this is the future outlook. This is the last slide. So towards 2025, first of all, we need to establish a system for expanding consulting business, lay the foundation. Modernization, Uvance. So as the wayfinders for Uvance and modernization, we'd like to create the team making and establish the base. Towards 2030, we have the company with DNA, technology DNA. So in the consulting field, with as the company with the technology DNA, what kind of stories shall be created and told? That is the key. So we create the business from technology. That is the strength. And we established a foundation together with the customers. So we would like to create a business model which is innovative and transformative together with the customers. So with this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. Moving on to the next presentation on technology strategy to support growth, presented by Mr. Mahajan. Over to you, Mr. Mahajan. Hello, everyone. Now, I am Mahajan. I'd like to talk about the technology strategy to support the business growth. Thank you for this opportunity. In Fujitsu, I have been serving as CTO as well as Chief Portfolio Officer. So thank you for your support and understanding. So at the outset, Isobe-san talked about our purpose. Now, there is one keyword in purpose, which is innovation. To support innovation, it's technology. Without the evolution of technology, we will not have innovation. So we as Fujitsu, for the growth strategy, what is extremely important is technology. To make sure that we come up with the innovative services. And Shimazu-san talked about modernization earlier. Now, when it comes to modernization, from design to test phase, AI and various technologies are utilized. Another point is Uvance. Yoshinami-san talked about the different offerings as part of Uvance. So within Uvance, data and AI, including those various offerings provided to the customers so that Fujitsu's values can be delivered to the customers. And also before me, Onishi talked about consulting, utilizing technologies to be offered to the customers, and then data, AI, and technologies, various offerings are to be provided. So what is important is that the value centering around AI will be offered to the customers so that we can differentiate our solution services or businesses. That's what our technology is targeting. And the bottom half of this, you see 5 key technologies from last year. AI within our industry is getting a lot of attention, of course, but these 5 key technologies, we've come up with this 3 years ago. We announced this 3 years ago, so we remain unchanged. Centering around AI, security, and computing and network converging technology all together will provide a total solution to the customers. I won't be able to talk about everything in details, but today I'd like to pick up some technologies and introduce them to you. First of all, AI. In our company, of course, we've been working on AI for a long time. We have an AI platform called Kozuchi, and through that, we're offering different services. So what do we mean by Kozuchi? So generative AI and data security technologies, or LLM and converging technologies and digital gateway. So general AI and combining them all together, we are providing this AI platform called Kozuchi. And as platform, what is important is that, of course, you should know this. So when it comes to AI, to realize AI, what is important is computing technologies. Without computing power, AI solutions cannot be well utilized. Another one is network technology. We, Fujitsu, have both computing and network base to support AI, and of course, the software technologies. We can combine all of them. And on top of that, as Yoshinami-san touched upon a little bit, of course, our IP combined by other companies' IPs, we can offer solutions to the customers. So our Kozuchi uses open technologies, so we can combine our strengths together with partners' strengths to provide solutions to the customers. Now, our AI technologies, some customers have already introduced our services all around the world, but I'd like to share some of them. Some are here on the slide, but last month, on August 14th, this was taken by CNN, International Gymnastics Association, is starting our new AI system for the scoring. And just last week, for the training of athletes and looking at how athletes behave, they use our technology and service. And also Missile Home is another case example. So personalization service is provided. And for that, they're using our service. And Chubu International Airport, to detect some suspicious people, they're using our AI technology. And Latta in Italy, to prevent the money laundering, they use our Graph AI. And also Iceland, interesting technology, ammonia, very environmental friendly. To introduce the environment friendly ammonia production, our AI computing technologies are used as environmental issues are the very important issues. So our AI technology is used to come up with a new material. Now, in our company, what we are targeting is, of course, not just in Japan, but we cover globally, but our target is enterprise. So focusing on enterprises, we offer generative AI framework. this was announced to the press in April. There are three characteristics: knowledge graph technology. For the enterprise companies, there's one challenge or issue. About 90% of the data or the generative AI model cannot run them. By utilizing a graph AI, the generative AI can be combined. So that's one thing. Another point is the generative AI aggregation technology utilizing a multiple LLM. So the generative AI aggregation technology can choose the most optimum model. And the third important point is a security issue. Needless to say, for the enterprise companies, the security is indeed a very important factor. So for us, we focus a lot on the AI audit the security technology. Onishi-san and Yoshinami-san talked about this a little bit, about Cohere. We announced this 2 months ago, our partnership with Cohere. Our target here is, for the company called Cohere, what they offer is what is based for all the generative AI. There's a transformer model was developed by one of the people named Aiden, who represents this company. And basically, the target for Cohere is enterprise. Generative AI model to be offered for the enterprises. What is the features? The characteristics is performance and privacy. The enterprise data in a more speedy way with a high priority can be utilized. And of course, everything is on cloud. Oh, actually, it can also be used in the private LLM, not just on cloud. And a model specific for a certain enterprises. Together with the specs and data and process of the enterprises, they want to utilize the AI. So as you can see on the right-hand side, highly customized. And the size of the language model, not necessarily large scale, but depending on the size of the enterprise, it can be large all the way to medium. And here, command pass, there are two LLM models. So Takane is a model for the Japanese language, which will be launched at the end of this month, together with the customers. We are evaluating, assessing, so it's well received by and high interest from the customers. And within a month or so, such command or model can be made into Japanese language, can be utilized by our customers. Another point, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, to support AI, what is necessary is the computing. Without computing, as you know, NVIDIA, AI is the major driver for growth. And this is also a national project, but Monaka 2-nanometer process is to be developed for the first time in the world. The target for this processor is data centers. Now, data centers, low power needs, energy saving, and our target is high cost performance. And then completely open architecture. And that's what we target. Now, AI, in analyzing data, there are two important points. Of course, trust and deep learning. The target for Monaka is machine learning and open architecture, various GPs, learning models, and NPUs. Altogether, software technology will be developed to provide a high performance for the customer. So Monaka, why 2-nanometer? Of course, it's the first of its kind in the world. So nanometer, by getting smaller and smaller, it will of course contribute to energy saving. So the energy is a major challenge for data centers. So it's a great timing. So to support AI, this is one technology. Another point is, as Onishi talked about a little bit, the quantum computing. Fujitsu, at this point in time, I think we're among top 3, even on a global scale at this point in time. In 2023, in July, the quantum simulator was released, combining the technologies. We released it, and the target was the realistic world in quantum. Rather than waiting for that, using the quantum simulators, various issues can be solved. So that's why we are offering this quantum simulator. And last year in October, or by March next year, 265 and then 1000 bit quantum computing will be released. And last year, or 2 weeks ago, what we announced together with Osaka University. Well, this is a great milestone. The START architecture, using a START architecture, and various issues can be solved. And almost near a fault tolerant quantum computation can be achieved. So together with Osaka University, this is the first of its kind. So I think we have a lot of expectations. And with the Dutch University, diamond spin is a method that we are working together with them to develop. Diamond spin and the superconductive fault tolerant quantum computing can be achieved in a speedy way. And of course, to come up with a good technologies, the human talents, we have to hire good human talents. It's extremely important. And Fujitsu is not just limited to Japan, but we have research institutes all over the world, and we're trying to hire talented people all around the world to develop various technologies. So Japan, US, and India, and Europe, Israel, in different markets and countries at R&D institutes. 5 key technologies that I mentioned at the outset are being offered to the customers. Last but not least, I'd like to show you an animation. The target for this animation is that what kind of world do we expect to see in the future? So AI agent within the enterprise world will play a significant role. For instance, one example, what the target here is to accelerate the decision-making speed to increase the productivity. Improving productivity, I think there are many more that we can do with the development of the technologies. The speed and productivity will be even more further improved. So supply chain AI agent role is what we would like to show you in this animation. So supply chain AI agent automatically using AI computing technology will first catch the outside information and have a demand forecast. And then they make a judgment. The supply chain agent judges that the demand will go up. And then with the plant agent, and they make instructions to the factory and inventory and transport agents to redesign. And these the 3 agents, of course, communicate interactively with each other to make a coordination adjustment. And then these 3 agents will also capture information from outside to come up with a new plan. So a new plan would be provided back to the supply chain agent for the redesign. So after redesign, the supply chain agent, at the end of the day, will analyze and come up with the latest forecast, and then instruct production increase. So those are all done automatically. So because of the technology working with the AI, what I want to say is that this can be done all automatically. At this point in time, various systems can be linked together, should be linked together to create this kind of world. I think we will have this in reality maybe within a few years, if not 5 years ahead. So what we are working on right now, the technology consulting, Uvance, and modernization, with that, what we aim is this kind of world. So we would like to realize this kind of world so that we can accelerate the customer's decision-making speed and improve their productivity. I think we can make a great contribution towards that. Now, the supply chain agent is animation for the manufacturer. We can do that in the retail and also in the public sector as well, and also defense. This kind of agent technology, and gradually already, they're starting to have this in North America, but I think I can further expand. Technology will further evolve. LLM technology, not just that, but also earlier in my presentation, I talked about the graph technology as well. So by utilizing this speedy computing technology, this can drive a significant change to the enterprise world going forward. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mahajan, thank you very much. Lastly, but not in the least, and once again, CFO Isobe will talk about the towards a sustainable increase in corporate value. Yes, so this is going to be the last part of today's presentations, and please stay with us. So this is the financial summary of all the programs explained earlier. So once again, I would like to talk about the numbers. So so this summarizes what the corporate vice presidents explained earlier, and 4 drivers in promoting the business going forward. So each agenda and what was mentioned by each of them, the quantitative numbers and the revenue, adjusted operating plan, the margin are indicated here. So based upon the business driver, how to achieve the 2025 plan and the target, that is what I'd like to explain to you. So this shows the revenue, service solutions, the total revenue. On the left-hand side, you see the shift from the actual 2022 through 2025 3-year period. About 420 billion yen increase in these years is shown here. As for the changes, plus the 500 billion by Fujitsu Uvance. So the increase over 500, modernization 145 billion upside. Then conventional IT services will go down. Well, the high value added service, based upon Uvance will replace the conventional IT services. So this will decline by 225 billion. By changing the business portfolio, we are going to enhance the added value so that we can achieve higher increase in the revenue. On the right-hand side of this slide, this shows the annual targets year by year. The 420 billion increase in 3 years' time, but the actual in 2023, last year, Uvance was the growth engine, and the 150 billion yen increase was achieved from the previous year. 2024, 90 billion yen upside, and then 170 billion increase from 24 to 25. Looking at each year, 2024, the growth was slowed, and then it's going to jump up once again towards 25. Because 2023 in Europe, structural change was done and the carving out of the low profitable business, and this slower business reflects those changes. But for 3 consecutive years, domestic business stays solid. And as Mr. Takahashi mentioned earlier, currently in 2024, so far, Uvance revenue and pipeline is building up, which is faster than the plan. the annual forecast is expected to is likely to go beyond the original annual target. So based upon the current momentum, it's going to be a more linear increase for the revenue, and it is quite highly likely that we will be able to achieve 2025 target for revenue. Next, the adjusted operating profit. On the left-hand side, from 2022 through 25, the profit increased by about 200 billion yen, and breakdown is shown here. Increase in revenue, first of all. The increase on the revenue will increase by 420 billion, so 150 billion here, and improved profitability will give us additional 80 billion, and then standardization, automation, the productivity enhancement, and they will be continued. So 1% increase by gross margin, about 3% improvement in 3 years' time. That's a part of the plan. And the third point is a negative in terms of the profitability, but this is investment leading to higher the productivity, negative 30. So the all in all increase by 200 billion between these 3 years. And the right-hand side shows the breakdown on a yearly basis. At the top is the profit increase because of the increase in revenue plus 60 billion in 23. This year, 50 billion, and in fiscal 25, 40 billion yen increase is planned. As for 2024, well, compared to the revenue increase, and the profit contribution seems to be somewhat larger because, as I mentioned, the revenue is down because of the lower profit from Europe. But in 25, the profit plan, as compared to increase in revenue, seems to be somewhat conservative. Fujitsu Uvance, modernization, consulting, and the revenue will increase, and it is highly likely that we will able to achieve this profit target. Next is due to the improvement of the productivity plus the 35 billion yen and the plus 40 billion yen, and in 2025 gross margin and the improvement by 1% each year, so 3% for 3 years' time. That is the plan. But in 2023, plus 2% was achieved. As for this year, plus a 2% improvement is expected, which is faster than the plan. As for fiscal 25, there's a room that we can achieve further improvement. So the improved profit due to the higher productivity is expected to be higher than the plan. The third line, this is because the changes of the investment, Uvance, modernization, and the consulting by conducting about the 30 billion yen expense increases planned, particularly 2024. Well, in order to expand the consulting business, we need to invest, and the 50 billion yen is the expense allocated for that. As for fiscal 25, this the upfront investment will be slower, so compared to fiscal 24, investment will be lower in 2025. So this is the plan in the past to achieve the plan for adjusted operating profit. By carrying out each of these activities, we hope to achieve the target, and also would like to create the business model that will give us further growth going forward. So combining all these items, and it's shown on the right-hand side, service solutions, and this will lead to the achievement of consolidated targets on the left-hand side. So far, I have only talked about service solutions, but how about the other segments? I'd like to talk about the overall segments. On the left-hand side, you see 2022 and 2025 consolidated adjusted operating profit. Service solutions is shown in blue part, so increase is planned, as I mentioned. As for other segments, the combined is shown in the gray part. So it's going to be lower than the number back in 2022. On the right-hand side, you see annual plans for each of these segments. And I'd like to give you some highlights. First of all, hardware solutions. Asterisk 1, or the star 1, explains. 2022 had a very high level, then the profit declined, and once again it will come up to the level comparable to 22 in fiscal 25. Network business cycle explains these changes. Back in 22, 5G and the optical transmission requirement and the demand was strong, and then it peaked out in 23. In 24, next generation and the investment cycle it started, and then as a result, 6G, ION, Open RAM, will push up the demand in 2025. That's part of this plan. Another point is about the device solutions. Shinko is the main company here. Well, similar to hardware solutions, but the variance is even larger. Up to 22, demand for electronic components stayed at very strong high level, but since second half of 22, it started to slow down because of the market adjustment, and it continued in 23, 24, but from the second half of 2024, market is going to recover due to AI, and the market plant utilization will recover up to the high level. And as you know, as for Shinko, already share transfer contract agreement was to be signed. Well, it's going to be going through the other administrative procedures, and the shares will go public. If that is done, device solutions is mainly carried out by Shinko, but it will be out of the consolidation going forward. The bottom right shows the numbers after device solutions and the consolidated profit, excluding device solutions, which is 420 billion yen by 2025. But the service solutions and the profit will improve. So the 2022 is based upon the current business. Compared to 320, but it's going to be larger and by 100 billion yen up to 420. So we are going to promote the shifting of the business portfolio, and we are going to work on these activities with a speedy fashion. Now, capital allocation, it is progressing according to the plan. Well, the cash flow, the 1,300 billion yen base cash flow is shown on the left-hand side, and then right next to that is the allocation. So 700 billion yen to the gross investment, 600 billion yen for the shareholder return. The cash flow is to be developed further so that the cash will be used for the gross investment, and at the same time allocate to the shareholder return by taking the overall balance of the capital allocation into consideration. So these are some of the financial indicators, adjusted EPS on the left-hand side and ROE on the right-hand side. The EPS and the average progress is between 14 to 16% CAGR, and the ROE 16 to 18%. We hope to achieve this level of ROE. So continuous profit improvement and the capital efficiency is what we are going to focus upon, so that we'll be ready for the years beyond this time frame. And this is the market indicators: share price, PER, PBR, current levels. Share price and in the previous the MTP period and this MTP period, we are on the track towards the higher share price. Well, today it seems to be somewhat lower, but we don't have to worry about the day-to-day changes. PER, PBR has been constantly on increase through business portfolio transformation and the portfolio changes. We would like to achieve higher efficiency and the further growth so that we can achieve further uplift of these indicators. This is the last on the slide. So modernization was explained by Shimazu-san, and Uvance by Takahashi-san, consulting by Onishi-san, and the technology by Mahajan-san. So all these the presenters explained about each of these the activities. So the business and the portfolio transformation is shown here. So through these activities, we can achieve the efficiency in the business and the creation of the cash flow, as well as the further efforts towards a transformation and the productivity enhancement and the growth investments, as well as the shareholder return are our focus. And we would like to work on this cycle, which will lead to further enhancement of the corporate value. 2025 is the last year of a current midterm management plan, and we have the rising confidence in achieving those targets. So by doing so, we can lift ourselves to the next higher level, and the transformation for that purpose will be continued without stopping. Digital service is what we are going to use in order to realize the net positive. So that is our future vision. And with that in mind, we would like to continue working on enhancing our corporate value. Sorry, we exceeded the time allocated for the presentations, but we will make efforts so that we can achieve the financial targets going forward. So this concludes our presentations. Thank you very much.